Jerec was a renowned scholar and the former apprentice of Jocasta Nu, the chief librarian of the Jedi Order. Possessing an unquenchable thirst for knowledge, Jerec's desires and ambitions led him away from the Jedi Temple, and as such, he was absent during the events of Order 66. He was eventually discovered by the Inquisitors of Palpatine's newly formed Galactic Empire, and was given a choice of either serving the Empire or losing his life. Jerec saw no choice at all, and avidly accepted the invitation, joining the dark side, exterminating many Jedi survivors, and even corrupting others to his cause. Upon the destruction of the Empire and its leaders, Jerec will continue his search for knowledge and power, eventually learning of a great source of power hidden within the Valley of the Jedi. After wreaking more havoc across the galaxy, the Dark Jedi achieved the power he lusted over. However, his reign was shortly thereafter ended by the young and rebellious Kyle Katarn, ending the threat he posed. Jarek was a man of dark ambition and notorious desires. His exploits and cravings cost the lives of many Jedi. Darth Warlock III was a member of a long-running family in service to the one Sith Emperor, Darth Krayt, over 100 years after the Battle of Yavin. Warlock served as his master's right-hand man and the residential lore master to the Order, studying every aspect of the dark side. Due to experimental growth implants embedded in his body, courtesy of the Yuzhong Vong, Darth Krayt's physical state would deteriorate drastically. Only Warlock knew the true extent of his master's condition and sought to find a cure. However, after a fateful duel on Hadabandon, Krayt would be left severely injured. In a moment of betrayal, Warlock executed Krayt with lethal torrents of force lightning. Placing Krayt's body in stasis, he would attempt to take his place, hoping to complete Krayt's vision for the galaxy in his own image. However, upon the rebirth of the one Sith Emperor, the two would be brought face to face once again, with Krayt's expressed desire for vengeance. The duo would face off in a titanic contest of force powers and dueling skill. However, victory seemed at hand when Warlock subjected Krayt to horrifying images of his past. Believing his master defeated, Warlock prepared to deal the final blow, only to be caught off guard and dealt a lethal blow at the hands of his deceptive enemy. Both of these characters will be represented as they appeared at the time of their death within Star Wars Legends continuity. However, Jerec will be fighting under his own power, with no benefit from the power he gained in the Valley of the Jedi.
Round 1.
Jerec's age is not formally documented in any particular source, though judging by his appearance, he appeared to be of late middle age. Jerec is a member of a race known as the Wyyrlock. These beings hold no advantages over the typical human, and as such perform just as adequately. However, they possess no eyes and are effectively blind. Despite this, they can see through the Force, able to detect the Force radiating off of others, ultimately granting them a greater sense of their surroundings. It is difficult to gauge Jerec's upper limits, as he doesn't have many showings to speak of, beyond using one arm to lift a man off the ground with more force than his grav boots, suggesting respectable levels of physical strength. He has also been shown to keep pace with opponents half his age, and as a result, is able to hold his own against opponents of superior physical power. Despite his lack of showings, Jerec has proven that his immersion within the dark side grants him a respectable degree of strength, and he is otherwise viable in the realm of physicality. Not much information is actually documented on Warlock's physical abilities. Darth Warlock was a member of an amphibious species known as the Shagrian. They boasted a resistance to radiation and possessed improved eyesight over humans for seeing in aquatic environments, ultimately granting them a greater sense of their surroundings. Males of the race also possessed 4 large horns protruding from their heads. Warlock's performance in battle was balanced and well-rounded. He was able to contend with the domineering power of Darth Krayt, who was one of, if not, the most imposing combatant of the era, standing up to his strength and keeping pace for a solid portion of their bout. Warlock has also demonstrated a respectable degree of resilience by tanking a barrage of rocks during his encounter with the reanimated Darth and Dedu. Darth Warlock III was not the most imposing Sith of his era, yet he proved that he could still stand his ground against the best of the best. Both of these combatants have proven themselves to be capable in the realm of physicality, despite the general lack of information. While both do possess enhanced perception of their surroundings, this won't have a major effect in a battle on neutral ground. In terms of general performance, I favour Warlock for his abilities to contend with more imposing opposition, a la Darth Krayt. Not only does Warlock generally perform better, he's also more resilient, ultimately making him more viable in a physical contest. As a result, the advantage in physicality is awarded to Darth Warlock III.
Round 2.
Jarek was not a dedicated lightsaber duelist, having spent the majority of his life honing his skills with the Force. However, he was by no means an incompetent swordsman, having spent years hunting and defeating Jedi under the Order of the Empire. Equipped with a single standard red-bladed lightsaber, Jerec is credited as the master of Makashi, the second form of lightsaber combat. This style was both elegant and precise, boasting movements and attack patterns akin to that of fencing. This style was solely intended for lightsaber combat, and as such, it gave Jerec the tools he needed to defeat the Jedi he was tasked with hunting. However, given Jarek's position as a dedicated Force user and his reliance on Force powers in battle, it stands to reason that he took up the use of Form 6 Nyman, a style based around moderation and the incorporated use of one's Force abilities in battle. The Dark Jedi was also very cunning, having been known to manipulate his enemies in the heat of combat with psychological warfare tactics, embedding doubt within his opponent's mind through the use of Dun Mok. While Jerec was an experienced swordsman, his lack of dedication to this art form showed its face upon his death at the hands of Kyle Katarn. While Kyle would go on to be one of the most renowned duelists within Luke Skywalker's New Jedi Order, he was much less experienced at the time of his fight with Jerec. Still, Jarek's life as an Inquisitor and defeat of numerous Jedi shows that he knows how to handle himself in battle, and he is otherwise a capable lightsaber duelist. Darth Warlock was a dedicated Force wielder and strongly favoured it over the lightsaber. Despite this, he's proven that when push comes to shove, he can still hold his own against more experienced opposition. His chosen lightsaber form is not actually referred to in any known source. However, his balanced and efficient blade work, along with his preference for using Force attacks, has led many to believe that he most likely relied on the use of Form 6, otherwise known as Nyman, a consensus that I would have to agree with. Equipped with 1 to 2 standard red-bladed lightsabers, encased in saber-resistant Yorek coral, Warlock's blade work, much like Nyman, was based around moderation, applying what was needed to get the job done, and little more. Despite Nyman offering practitioners training in the art of dual-blade fencing, Warlock has never actually been shown using this style of fighting, despite artwork depicting him brandishing twin blades. Despite only having been depicted in one lightsaber duel, Warlock's skill was evident. Having contended with the overwhelming onslaught of Darth Krayt, Warlock managed to defend himself appropriately until he was able to create an opening with his Force powers. This is an incredible showing, considering that Darth Krayt was arguably the most skilled duelist of the era, with over 100 years of experience, having completed his training as both a Jedi and a Sith, and having self-proclaimed to have killed thousands of enemies. On the whole, while Darth Warlock III may not have been as committed to his studies of the blade as many of the other Sith of his time, he showed that anyone who underestimates him will soon realise their mistake. This verdict is one that might not play a massive role in the endgame of this fight, but since both are willing to use a lightsaber when the situation demands it, a decision on who is the better duelist must be made. One could argue that Jerec would have a slight advantage given his use of Makashi, since it's tailored for lightsaber duels, while Warlock's primary style has no inherent strengths to speak of. While this is true, form advantages are only as useful as the skill of the person wielding the form. There are plenty of characters within the franchise who have contended with, or outright defeated opponents who boast form advantages over them, thanks to their own skills in battle. What I feel determines the edge here is how both combatants performed in their most noteworthy duels. While both did perform admirably despite losing, Warlock ultimately performed better against a more fleshed out and accomplished duelist. While Kyle Katarn did go on to become one of the best duelists in Luke Skywalker's New Jedi Order, he was still relatively inexperienced in comparison to his older Battle Master self. Had Jerec fought the best version of Kyle, he'd be a match to Warlock, but as it stands, Warlock has performed better against a superior opponent. Darth Warlock III wins the advantage as a lightsaber duelist.
Round 3.
The Force was Jerec's primary focus throughout his life, and as you might expect, he achieved a great level of power and knowledge. With power supposedly rivaling Darth Vader, Jerec was able to emit a disturbing chill in the presence of his enemies, and disrupt their focus thanks to his immeasurable saturation in the dark side, overshadowing their connection to the Force, as described by Q Ran.
His heavy brow overshadows the empty recesses that normally embrace eyes. Jerec has the uncanny power to absorb and overshadow one's connection to the Force, like a dark cloud. A deep, empowering grasp of your will is what you need.
Jerec enhanced this through his use of Consume Essence, which allowed him to feed off the negative emotions of others, fueling himself and weakening his victims. A method he used in tandem with his aforementioned use of psychological warfare. His use of telepathy was incredibly strong, able to break the mental force barriers of fully trained Jedi Masters and rip information from their minds. In addition, he made use of Battle Mind, an internalized version of battle meditation, which allowed him to boost his own morality and focus in battle. Jerec was able to make use of devastating energy-based attacks. Already capable of lethally applying powers such as Force Lightning and Force Hatred, his signature power was an ability referred to as Force Destruction. Known for its rarity, this power held a variety of uses. When locked in combat with another Force user, Jerec could use this power to completely paralyze his targets, leaving them open to a fatal blow. In addition, he's made use of this ability to destroy a docking bridge strong enough to hold a massive ship in place, and all but destroyed a forest of spores and tentacles, showing that he has the power to completely obliterate anyone unfortunate enough to get caught in his path. Jerec could also effectively defend himself from similar attacks thanks to his defensive abilities such as the Force Barrier, Energy Dissipation, and Tutor Minis. On the whole, Jerec's search for knowledge and power certainly paid off, as he gained a variety of remarkably strong abilities, all of which had a great many uses in and out of battle. As the residential lore master of the One Sith Order, Warlock possessed an extensive amount of knowledge on virtually all uses of the dark side, and was credited as the second most powerful Sith of his time, second only to Darth Krayt, which speaks volumes to just how powerful the Chagrian Lord was. Warlock's use of telekinesis was both powerful and skillful, capable of manipulating his environment to his advantage and transforming it into a deadly weapon. He was also skilled at levitating objects and seemingly himself, as well as possessing some degree of skills with what appears to be pyrokinesis. He was skilled in multiple defensive powers, including the use of Force Barrier and Tutor Minis, having protected himself from a stone barrage from Krayt with the barrier, and easily deflecting the Force Lightning of Darth Anderdu, an ancient Sith who was known for his own incredible command of the Force. His use of Force Lightning was utterly devastating and destructive. Having used this power to kill his gravely wounded master, Warlock's potency was further demonstrated when his lightning destroyed 2 stone columns. Telepathy was an art form to Warlock, and his skills in this field were both extensive and terrifying. During his fight with Anderdu's cultists, Warlock created illusions of himself, effectively tricking them into fighting and even killing each other, while later destroying Anderdu's mind. In addition, he used a powerful ability on Krayt known as Memory Walk, bringing him to his knees, forcing him to relive his most painful and traumatic memories. However, their dialogue suggests that Krayt may have been feigning the true extent of the effect that these spells had on his mind. as he managed to catch Warlock off guard and deal a killing blow. It also seems that his knowledge of Krait's past helped him to know which buttons to push. Still, the fact that he was able to have any effect on Krait's mind at all is remarkable, as Krait was powerful enough to touch the minds of every Sith in the galaxy upon his revival. Needless to say, Darth Warlock III is one of the most impressive Sith of his time. His knowledge and power should undoubtedly be held with reverence and respect. This round is certainly the closest, and one that would be a feast for the eyes if these two were to collide in battle. Each possesses their own unique advantage over the other, Jerec with his destructive versatility thanks to his use of Force destruction, while Warlock is more well-rounded in terms of offense and defense. I'm not entirely confident that Jerec would be able to overwhelm Warlock with his use of Force destruction, as he has already shown himself to be an expert in the art of defense. However, given how Warlock was strong enough to even stagger and ultimately hang with someone as skilled and powerful as Darth Krait, I feel that this speaks to a greater degree of power with the Force. While it is true that Warlock knows nothing about Jerec, which may result in something like Memory Warp being less potent, his achievement is a testament to what he can do. Neither would be capable of dominating the other. However, given how Warlock is more well versed in his use of the Force, along with the expert manner in which he wields his abilities, I will be awarding a very slight advantage to Darth Warlock III as a Force user.
Final round.
A fight between these two would be a spectacular display of power driven by dark ambition. The final tally for this fight is an 8 out of 10 majority to the victor. The battle would open much like Warlock's fight with Krait. The two would engage in a beautiful display of power, demonstrating the skill and power that each has attained over the years. The environment would shatter, Force lightning would crackle, Force destruction would glow brightly. After a few minutes of neither being able to find the opening they seek, Jerec draws his saber and engages Warlock face to face. The Chagrian would meet his opponent's challenge and expertly deflect each of Jerec's attacks. At this point, Jerec's experience and precision would show itself. However, he'd be hard pressed to find an opening in Warlock's defense, given his well-honed use of Nyman. Digging in his heels, Warlock skillfully defends and counters, waiting for his moment, while subsequently complementing his blade work with his dark power, forcing the Dark Jedi to do the same. Eventually, Warlock manages to force the opening he needs, stunning his adversary long enough to deal a killing blow. As such, Darth Warlock III, the Sith Lore Master, and Krait's right hand, is declared the victor. Well, thanks a great deal for watching, ladies and gents. I thought of this match a long time ago and thought it would be interesting to see, as both of these characters have many similarities, and even fascinating backstories to boot. As always, social media is linked in the description, and until next time, may the Force be with you.